A pastor is arguing that a pro football coach is a saint. We'll have that story and more in just a bit. But first, hi and welcome to God Works Weekly. I'm Jeff Eisner. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. Well, it's the back to school time of year, and the campus chapel is working hard to reach folks through their stomachs, which is always a good idea, especially for college students. Cross and Resurrection on the campus of Eastern Michigan is the place that opens its doors late night for pancakes and waffles. The fellowship has really caught on. They get lots of students stopping by for the breakfast treats and games late at night. Here's Pastor Brian Schindel on the campus's hot and tasty ticket.
They only have one movie, so we can have it at 10. So from 10 o'clock on Friday evening to 1 o'clock on Saturday morning, we serve up to as many as 700 students, but normally around between 150 and 300 students on Friday evenings. So it's a great way to provide a safe space for people. My wife used to ask me, is it really worth staying up to 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning when you have meetings on Saturdays? And she went to a physical therapist a few years back. So we've been doing this for 11 years. This will be our 11th year, I think. And she went to her physical therapist who was trained at Eastern. And her physical therapist told her about the Pancake Church that he went to when he was on campus. And it was how good it was to have this opportunity to be in a safe space. So my wife all of a sudden doesn't care if I stay out till 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning, Friday night. Because it is a ministry that has affected people. We're known as the Pancake Church. We're the only chapel on campus, and everybody knows us.
All right, here's another great story about an interesting form of outreach in the community, and it's just about 30 miles down the road from Ypsilanti, where we just heard about the pancakes and waffles. As we're about to hit September, football season is upon us, and Sunday mornings, the Detroit pastor, after he finishes early service, he goes outside and chats with tailgaters and greets tailgaters outside of historic Trinity, which is just blocks away from Ford Field and where the Detroit Lions play. Take a listen to Pastor Andrzejewski.
We have about 10,000 or more tailgaters that pass by our church every Sunday morning on game day. So we wanted to kind of connect to them in a unique way. Realizing that most people who are out and about partying at 10:30 in the morning on a Sunday morning ready for a football game aren't necessarily going to be interested in talking to people from church outside of a church, especially a guy with a clerical collar. So I had just this crazy idea. With Gothic Cathedral, we have all of these beautiful windows of Old Testament, New Testament characters, and one of them is Daniel, the Old Testament prophet Daniel, and at the top of the window is, of course, the classic story of the lions. So you got Daniel and the lions in this. So I got a zoom lens. I went across the sanctuary in our Triforium gallery, 2 to 3 floors up. Took a nice clean shot of Daniel, and then I superimposed the face of Lions head coach Dan Campbell into it. Put a few little Easter eggs in there that I photoshopped. But that's our Daniel window now, and so we blew that up into this ginormous 6-foot vinyl picture that we put on our gate facing the way that the tailgaters would walk down the street. And that's the first thing they're going to see as they kind of make that curve by the church, and maybe for the first time realize, hey, that's a church there. And then I put a table underneath, and the table says, Dan Campbell deserves his own window. Change my mind. And so for the last 2 years, we've been out there strategically on a Sunday morning. I'll do the first service. I'll leave the second service to our retired guys. And I'll just go out my clerical and stand and around that table with some volunteers, some very friendly volunteers as tailgaters are walking by. And we pass out these magnets. We've passed out over 2,000 of these magnets and have had some interesting conversations with people. Again, approaching it from the perspective of they're not there to talk to Father, hello Father, right? But it has created some really fun, interesting, and sometimes volatile comments and then conversations. Probably one of the more typical questions is somebody says, perhaps a bit aghast, how do you know Dan Campbell is good enough to be a saint? And that's like, oh, okay. Well, change my mind, but my question then is usually, well, do you have to be good enough to be a saint? So that actually starts some really interesting conversations about some finer points of theology. Our website is on the bottom of the magnet. We certainly, as we track it on our Google Analytics, we certainly see an uptick in traffic on our website.
Great story of meeting people where they are, isn't it? Going inside Concordia Market, we're joined by the Executive Director of Concordia Center for the Family, Todd Bierman.
We're an organization that is all about uniting homes and congregations and making lifelong disciples of Jesus. So we equip church workers especially to then take the faith into their own home and to model it for others in their congregation and how they can take it in their home. We are looking to really get a shift in our mindset of the LCMS to see that it's not only on Sunday morning. There's been that problem in our past, and it's not just Sunday morning, but you have to have it in the life every day. That's our focus, to take what you get Sunday morning great into the life every day.
Find out more about how they're uniting homes and congregations and making lifelong disciples of Jesus. Go to concordiamarket.com/CCF. Time for What You're Reading, and we've got a familiar face here, Ryan Peterson from Concordia, St. Paul.
I'm reading a lot about higher education right now. Higher ed is changing very, very quickly. And so one of my books that I'm maybe rereading is called The Agile College. So it's all about, how do colleges in today's higher ed world continue to adjust? How do they continue to not change their mission, but consider the programs that they're offering and the way in which they are serving students? Again, at CSP, we're blessed. Last year was a year of just incredible enrollment, record enrollment. And in the midst of a difficult higher ed market, CSP's been able to, go up against that and really, really do well. So I want to be a part of that.
Leave us a note in the comment section, or you can email me directly. Let us know all about some of those cool missions, the ministries, and the outreach that you have going on in your community. We'd love to highlight them. And if you want to find out anything more about the topics that we've discussed today, make sure to check out the show notes. Thanks for watching God Works Weekly, and may God bless your week.